Let's see here. There we go. As you can see, my game is currently searchable, which means it is returned to the index and will be re-indexed as a browsable game that you can find via other pages and via the browse features. When I hit download, it suggests other furry visual novels, which means that it's not shadow banned, it's no longer blacklisted. You will notice that there was no option to pay what you want here, and that's what's going on here. But yeah, also here's that Astra, Remember the Flowers, this one FNAF game whose thumbnail needs to chill out a little bit, Echo, Minotaur Hotel. It's all back. Not all back yet, but a lot of it's back. The Echo Project stuff is back. Shelter, Burrows, that thumbnail needs to chill out too. And what's going on here is that they are re-indexing any free adult NSFW content that fits the other guidelines and so on. So here's the post. Today we are re-indexing free adult NSFW content. We are still in ongoing discussions with payment processors and will be reintroducing paid content slowly to ensure that we can confidently support the widest range of creators in the long term. If you'd like to be eligible for today's reindexing, just set no payments. So to do that, you go into your edit page, scroll down to here, and you, instead of having 0 or donate, aka free, pay what you want, or having a paid price, you set no payments. Most furry visual novels were at the $0 or donate tier previously, so you could optionally send them money through itch.io, which itch.io takes a decent cut out of, and then taxes and so on, but you know, some of the money still goes to the creator. It's not as good as Patreon, but it's good to have the tip jar open. But right now, when all this shit is going down, it's helpful to at least be able to set it to no payments, make your mostly free game completely free, and then have it become a game that people can at least play again. Because if your game is Patreon supported, it mostly thrives on people discovering it and playing it at all. So if it's discoverable, then at least they will play it and potentially support you on Patreon, assuming that things don't get worse. That's sweet. So that's what you do to set that setting there. They warn us that if you have any individually priced files, like if different things in the thing cost money, that those will all be set to free. So be careful. But for most people, for most free visual novels that we're talking about, it's pretty much all or nothing. This is just the one game that was either set to pay what you want or free. And if it's set to free, then it's going to currently be back, which is a good sign. The update on Stripe is that, for those that aren't aware, Stripe is one of the payment processors we've used since our early days. It says, Stripe is currently unable to support sexually explicit content due to restrictions placed on them by banking partners, despite card networks generally supporting adult content with appropriate registrations. Stripe has indicated that they hope to be able to support adult content in the future. So at the moment, they will not support any content designed for sexual gratification, which is basically anything flagged NSFW for any reason, regardless of level of intensity or even how pornographic it is, versus whether or not it just features some adult content and so on, because that's the kind of all or nothing labeling that tends to happen. You can read the full post via the link in the description if you want, or if you just paused while I scrolled through it just now. I'm not going to go through the whole thing. So this is good news on some level. Like, basically anyone who is still present enough to edit the settings of their furry visual novel, and it's not like abandonware or something, can change the setting over and have it be relisted again. This is helpful. It's not a victory exactly, because it's just a way around a blacklisting that happened on one particular platform. To be clear, none of the actual payment processors have backed off. So this is not a win from that perspective, and if you've been making any calls, you should continue to make calls to bother these people. From what I understand, the payment processors' phone banks have gotten more irate and are trying harder to traffic flow people and so on, but, you know, fuck them. Don't be rude to the actual employees, because they're kind of caught in the crossfire, because corporations, the people that actually make these frustrating decisions, are the ones that are also most isolated from their consequences and all that. But the overall struggle has not gone away. They are still trying to censor art on itch.io, on Steam, just in general, really, and that does disproportionately affect us whenever it goes down, and that is a struggle. We just also just have to hope that this whole thing stays hands-off on itch.io's case, and they don't do other weird, creepy things. Like, for example, a lot of NSFW artists of various forms and genres and whatnot got banned from Patreon, I think last year or this year, for taking part in various kinks that were deemed unsavory by payment processors. And what got really weird about that was that some of the people that did stop posting that stuff and take all that stuff down off of their Patreon, they got punished for posting that stuff on Twitter. Like, if they posted the stuff that was against Patreon's rules on Twitter, they got their Patreon deleted, which means that sometimes these services police you based on your behavior on other platforms and whether or not that violates the rules, even though you're not actually charging people for the content. So it's insidious. It's a struggle. So this is a huge messy thing. It honestly requires legislation that tells these people to fuck off and not be able to choose to do these kinds of things, and that should be up to potentially other institutions, but ultimately hopefully no one to tell you not to be able to charge for things like this on public platforms. Like, it's just I'm sure there's forms of commerce that should be illegal, obviously, like fucked up black market dark web stuff, but it's really, really weird and fucked up to conflate porn and queer art as being like that in any way, and even like anything that budges the needle there and moves the conversation further in that direction is bad for everyone. So hopefully we can get away from that. This is just a quick update because it's kind of, I don't know, it might be the end of the story for now on the itch.io situation, is that at least furry visual novels do have a platform right now, in that everyone can just toggle a thing, lose some money sometimes, but ultimately become visible again and go back to updating their games, which is good news. Do consider jumping on some people's Patreon sometimes, even if you just like hop on, pledge, then immediately unsubscribe to do a one-time donation or something like that. Because none of the NSFW ones, which includes Remember the Flowers, puzzlingly, and even my game, all these games cannot even allow people to tip them anymore. So if you want to tip them, you need to go through their Patreon or any other services in order to give them any kind of financial support that allows them to continue making the art that they do, because many of these things have several people involved with them, like an artist and a musician and a writer, often all separately and so on, and any little bit does tend to help. So it's worth considering the fact that they can no longer make any money through itch.io, even though that's the only place they can post their games. People have been looking into other things. I know that I suggested Newgrounds kind of jokingly at one point, and then somebody said, people pointed out that doesn't really necessarily make sense, but then other people are maybe considering it on some level. So we'll see if there's any alternatives that might be possible. I genuinely don't know. I am not an expert on any platforms. I'm just trying to keep up with my own work, so I don't really have a lot of research and updates to add to this. This might be my last video on this topic, just because I mostly came here to ramble about like actual ramble about art and so on. It's just that this was so specifically personal and targeting and affecting everyone around me that I felt like I should make videos about this. And I'll probably make videos in the future about things that I feel like I might need to use my platform for in a very specific niche way, that no one else might talk about on YouTube specifically. But I don't know. I was kind of just in an emotional place when I made the first video and felt like I needed to say something at the time. But it's not the intended use of this channel to be doing news updates all the time. So hopefully I'll go back to doing some kind of rambly ass podcast thing or a take about media next week or something, and not just a little crisis like this. But yes, it is not over. Continue to make the calls you've been making. Continue to sign any petitions that you can, and lobby any local politicians that you might be able to reach that might be able to just push back on any of this mess, because this is unacceptable and it does need to be stopped. And this is not the end of that. It is just some good news that a lot of people can breathe easily on for a moment here and just be like, okay, my game still exists and isn't just a unlisted YouTube video functionally. And that is good. Just don't take that as being, don't take that as like, oh wow, we're back to normal. Don't get new coked.